Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, you read that title. Eminem and Lord Jamar, the beef is over?
Oh my God!
So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Screwface John, SFJ, Fizz, whatever you want to call me, just don't call me Collect. Shout out to all the new subscribers. We appreciate you. Make sure, it's very, I don't know if YouTube changed the algorithm, but it's very important that you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy this type of content and want to keep seeing it. We got another talking video today, ladies and gentlemen. You know, one of them videos where I whoosh, take handy dandy notes, do my little edits, whatever. We have a good time. So, we knew this was coming. My man, Jamar, got on Vlad TV. Let me get my hair right, hold on. Went on Vlad TV and finally said his final, I think?
I doubt it.
sayings of the whole Eminem beef. Now, we saw Jamar come out, put out his tweets about the whole situation, but we knew that's not where it was gonna end. We knew it was not gonna end. We knew that he was gonna get on, even though he went on his own podcast and talked about it, he was gonna go on Vlad. It wasn't really real, it wasn't official till he went on Vlad. And I'm kind of glad that he went on Vlad and did it, because, you know, on this channel I've been documenting this whole thing. And it started on Vlad's channel. I'm glad that that's where it ends, but I don't know if this is where it ends. So, we'll get right to the clips, baby. Right out the gate at around 19 seconds. Now, I took a few notes and I put where, you know, things that were important to me, just, you know, so I could break them down with my whole journalistic, thing. Anyway, so at 19 seconds, Jamar does what I think is very important.
Now, let the record reflect that we're about to talk about. You're bringing this up, not me.
He pointed out the fact that Vlad really has been a person who has kind of not gotten any, you know.
2,000 years later.
I don't know if backlash is the right word, but hasn't really gotten the same amount of stuff that Jamar or even M has gotten for being in this whole situation. But this did start with Vlad. This did start with a question Vlad asked. And not only that, but Vlad kept asking the question to other guests, kept it going, because of course it was good for views, I understand it. And I just thought it was important that Jamar pointed that out. And then later in 53 seconds, around 53 seconds, Vlad starts giving the whole backstory, MCU style.
Back in 2013, you and I started a conversation about white rappers in general being guests in the House of Hip Hop.
Now, I also think that that was important that he did that because, like I said, I think a lot of people came into this beef or this whole Eminem and Jamar feud kind of halfway in it or towards the end. There's a lot of people who don't realize where it started. So Vlad kind of did a rundown of the whole thing. And then at 1:35 seconds, yeah, I give timestamps just in case. Make sure you go watch that whole interview on Vlad's. I'm just gonna only obviously use little clips here. Go watch that interview on Vlad. Go put, you know, your little how you feel in the comment section in this video too, but make sure you put it over there too if you want to show your love. Jamar at 1:35 clarifies how M was brought into this conversation.
Over time, Eminem became part of that conversation as a guest in the House of Hip-Hop.
Well, no, how he became a part of the conversation is you said Eminem too.
Now that to me is wild important, because this was a time for everybody to clear up anything that people don't know, because nothing they said was a lie. And I think Jamar knew a lot of people are going to watch this. A lot of people who have been invested in this whole thing. A lot of people who've just been watching it for the entertainment. A lot of people who, I guess that's investment still. Just a lot of people were going to watch it. So I think he tried to use this as a chance to try to clarify what he was saying, or try to point out that Vlad has dirty hands in this too. And he brought up the fact that Vlad was the person who brought up Eminem first. It wasn't Jamar that brought up M first.
Aha!
Doesn't really change too much, but it kind of does change a lot if you think about it. And then later on, in like 2 minutes and 27 seconds, Vlad talks about the kamikaze response.
Eminem dropped kamikaze, and he responded to you about being a guest in the House of Hip Hop and saying, "I belong here, a clown." And, start naming all the people that he brought in, like 50 Cent and so forth. And then in his...
Now, if you don't know, the way that Vlad and Jamar were kind of talking about this was a little weird. It was a little, not weird because I saw it coming, but it was a little like, I don't know what we did. It was just like out of nowhere things came.
Sir, I didn't even do nothing.
But they were a lot more guilty and kind of didn't give that off as much as possible. But I guess obviously it's Vlad's platform. He gets to control the narrative. But Vlad talks about the kamikaze response, and Jamar, where Eminem responded to Jamar. And it got weird. I think that's when it started getting weird to me, because they're really talking like they had nothing to do with, like they had no idea why M would be talking about Jamar. Like they were like, showed signs of confusion. And I was like, yo, you guys are really acting like you had nothing to do with this, or almost like Jamar started seeming like he was somebody who was getting attacked for no reason. But what Eminem was saying was a response to what Jamar was saying, right? And even in that response, like I said, Eminem did not say he wasn't a guest in hip-hop. And then at 2 minutes and 42 seconds, Vlad talks about the kamikaze response.
And then in his new album, he responded to you again, and he said that if hip-hop was a house, then really G-Rap and Rakim would have you mopping floors and so forth.
And then here is where I feel like, really started doubling down on this, starting to make it feel like, oh, Emma's just talking about me for no reason. I don't get it. Or like, oh, he's beating a dead horse. Why does he keep talking about this? They kind of left out the point where Jamar was also still constantly talking about M. And here's the reason why I still think it's a bit, Vlad kind of has more, fault in that part, is because it's the way that now you could do a Vlad TV interview and he may ask you, there might be a section where in a 2-hour interview might be 15 minutes, 20 minutes on M that Jamar might do. Now, Vlad is very smart and he's a strategist, so he knows how to chop that up and drop it for long enough to maintain, so it feels like Jamar is doing nothing but talking about Eminem, which is not really the fact. It's just framed that way. But they talk about the kamikaze response, which was also response to Jamar still talking about M after his response. What a lot of people do, I feel like, is they act like M don't be watching stuff, and M definitely watched the Vlad TV interviews. So it was just because the reason why it seemed like M just kept attacking him in music is because they're leaving out the fact that he kept attacking him in interviews. If Jamar would have responded in music, it would have, instead of on the interviews, then it would have sounded better. But it would have made more sense. And at 4 minutes and 11 seconds, Jamar asks,
Alright, so why were we going through this in the first place?
But Jamar asks, why were they going through this in the first place? And that's where I kind of had to scratch my head. You're going through this in the first place because you guys kept talking about each other. Both of y'all. It wasn't Eminem just harping on the guest in the House of Hip Hop thing. It was that you said something about M said something about you. You continued to say things about M, which could be responses. M responded to you. That's why it kept going. You're acting a little too oblivious, like you had no idea why it kept going. It kept going because y'all kept pushing. Both of y'all. And fan bases too. And Vlad. And then at 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Jamar just...
You never said you weren't, but you never said you were until now.
Jamar says M never says he wasn't a guest, but never said he was a guest. Now, besides the fact that is splitting hairs, crazy. That's splitting hairs, Jamar. Come on, black man. We know this, bruh. I'm speaking to you with, you know what I mean? From the motherland. I'm from Africa. That's splitting hairs, my G. That's splitting hairs. And let's even pretend that's not splitting hairs. Eminem has always called hip hop black music. And I keep saying this lyric. Since I'm not the first king of controversy, I am the worst thing since Elvis Presley to use black music so selfishly and use it to get myself wealthy. Come on, Jamar. He's always agreed with you. He agrees with you with that. That's why I said it. You can go back and watch my videos. I've been said these are two people arguing about the same point, and that's weird. He agrees with you in your Elvis point too. How Jamar feels about Elvis is the same way M feels about Elvis. So let's not, come on, man. And then at 4 minutes and 37 seconds, we'll wrap this up here. Jamar says that
this was no beef. Like, this was just me stating my fucking opinion and a bunch of fucking stands having a problem with it. And then them, amplifying some shit so much back to him that he had to respond. Like really the stands, I feel, are responsible for a lot of this fucking back and forth shit.
He kind of blames the diehard fans for this beef. Now, I wouldn't just... Now, I wouldn't say it's 100% the stand's fault. I'm not going to say that at all. Because what Jamar's fault was saying M was doing things he wasn't doing because he was arguing with fans or trolls or stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's still your fault for doing that. You can't be mad at somebody's friends and then you blame them. I mean, I guess you can, but that's not being genuine if the person isn't doing the things you claiming that they're doing. You know what I mean? So really it wasn't Jamar versus Eminem. This was Jamar versus the Eminem fans. And then Eminem would jump in. But do I think that this will be the end? I don't know. Put in the comment section if you think it's going to be the end.